take it up with the men.
Exactly. If you even want to call them that. Just so you know, I'm not fucking lying.
I'm like, Morgan, this is gonna be on the internet. Slay.
I'm surprised he didn't get a restraining order on me, okay?
I was gonna say trusting a man. We
You brought it up, you started it, so let's go.
fuck fake bitches.
Hold on, we're just gonna Google ourselves real quick.
The drama. The internet is a fucking crazy place.
Welcome to Unshut, a place where if at any point you feel like you need to shut the up, don't.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh my God. The background is giving. I love the black walls. I'm like, yes.
Oh my gosh, the last time we recorded, I was just in like my kitchen island, like
There have been upgrades.
major upgrades. Do you still have the pink pen? Hell yeah.
I'm like, she's sitting right there
Oh my
next to the
gosh.
scathing notebook.
I am so excited to have you back for so many reasons because we have a fuck ton to talk about. I have to compose myself so that I am not over talking and getting too excited. But
Yes.
how's your morning been? How are you doing today?
I'm good. I had to get in glam. I had to show respect to the show. But it's been good. It's been chill. I was doing some music video prep, so I'm really excited. I'm like, oh, spoiler.
Yes, I am here for the spoiler, which we can jump right into it because I was actually going to ask you that a little bit later. But let's
Yeah.
fucking start. Music video, visuals, what's upcoming? We'll talk a little bit more about the tracks and like the lyrics and the process a little bit later. But
Yeah.
you brought it up, you started it, so let's go.
I know it's like whatever. It's funny because with this EP, like a lot of the tracks I wrote so long ago. So I just feel like whatever's like new and fresh, I'm so excited about. So it's like the music video is what's currently on my plate. So it's gonna be for the last track on the EP called IJDK, which is like this really cinematic, like big power ballad. So I just had location scouting. So that was kind of cool. Like this is my first official music video. I like shot one in college, but it never came out. And like it was nothing to them. Like it was really fun, but it was just we didn't have enough time and we didn't really like complete it like the way that we were going to. But yeah, we did some location scouting for this one. We picked this like lofted space in like downtown LA. And I felt like I was back in New York and I was so excited because I was like, oh my God, like it's giving New York. I don't know. I have the also itch to go back, like not move back per se, but I definitely need a trip. But yeah, I'm really excited. So it's gonna be like, I don't know. I don't want to like give too much away because I don't think the music video is gonna be out by the time this comes out, but it's gonna be really cool. It's all set in like the one studio location, and we're gonna have like these really cool visuals and like aesthetically, I'm really excited. And then yeah, so that's like that project. And then I'm also gonna hopefully be coming out with like a visualizer type thing as well. I had another friend approach me for some reason. This, like, I think maybe because the song's iconic and maybe by the time this goes up, it's already blown up, but everyone's so inspired by it and connects to it in their own way. So I feel like that's really validating to hear as like an artist where I'm like, okay, I feel like this is one of my most vulnerable songs and like the fact that people are really connecting. So my friend Jess reached out and we're going to do some like more visual shots of like LA and have it be like that desolate at night, like emo vibe of like, what am I doing with my life? Existential crisis. That was a lot, but I'm really excited. That's kind of like a little preview of what's to come.
When it comes to the music video, the first one we talked about, are you able to name drop who you're working with on that? Who's helping you with like the creative process or anything like that?
I can't list all their names honestly off the top of my head, but my friend Maxwell that I went to NYU with, he reached out to produce the project and he's been super amazing. And we've been friends since like 2020. So it's pretty cool. Like he's been a fan of my music for a while and like he's recently gotten into film and like doing film grad school and stuff. And so he had that network of people. So it was a really cool process. Just because again, like I know nothing really about like the film world. And he really like brought me in and was like, we had meetings with several different directors who were pitching their ideas. And so we ended up going with one of his like, I don't know if they have classes together, but someone he pulled for me. His name is Matt. And yeah, he had this like really cool concept that we ended up greenlighting. And so I'm really excited. But the team is like, I think there's already like 11 people. Like it's pretty legit. I was like, when we did the location scouting, that like they're all over there, like looking at the dimensions and like writing down. They're like, do you think the camera would go this way? And I'm like sitting there like, oh my God, this is so cool. Cause I know nothing. I'm like, I live for the space. It's iconic.
I am so excited to see it and to hear more about it. And going
Yes.
back to something you talked about a little bit ago about like the previous project you had filmed that just never really made it out into the world, is there any footage of that lingering anywhere like in your cloud or anything like that? Just out of curiosity.
Might be. I think if I look back in my student drive, I might be able to find it. It was literally like for my first song ever, Who's There? Yeah, we had this like whole cool concept to have this like mirror follow me around like the streets of New York and then like kind of having a storyline of like me and like two of my friends and like everyone's getting ready and we're all like meeting at this party at the end. But we ended up only just shooting the basically beginning and end and never like the whole plot line of it because my friend at the time was just like, we have enough content, like we're good. And I was just like not in makeup the entire time because the beginning was like me getting ready for the day. It was just like no makeup, me like singing on a bed, and then cut to like this beautiful rooftop. Like the rooftop shots were iconic and looked really cool. Honestly, now looking back, I should have just like made it a visualizer or something and like used some of that content still, but I think I've learned a lot since then. That was like 2019. But obviously, when you're that young, you just like want the world to take you really seriously. And like everything feels so crucial, like, because you're like, this could be it. Like, and if this is my moment, like, I'm going to be judged really hard on it. And so, I mean, I naturally have like a lot of perfectionist tendencies that I'm working through. But with time, I think you start to learn that like you're your own worst critic and it's really not that deep. Like you kind of just have to go for it sometimes.
Oh, for sure. But I think that also speaks volumes to the fact that you're also protecting what you're trying to put out and you're not just putting out to put out. And I think that's the beauty of artistry. It's actually giving a fuck about what you're putting out. So maybe one day
Yeah.
you can, when you take this craving of going back to the East Coast, you'll like remake it or something. Go back to that rooftop.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's honestly the big reason why I didn't put it out is because Who's There was so special to me. And I was like, this isn't just like a party song. Like it had a lot of meaning and it was like about, like a lot of issues I was dealing with at the time and was like super like precious to me in terms of like being my song baby. So I was like, but it's not the way I wanted or like, whatever. And so anyway, it was like they were so amazing and awesome to work with and like there's like no bad blood whatsoever, at least from me. I'm like, love you guys. But yeah, I am excited to get into the creative process again in like a more professional way and like because we were students back then, everyone was figuring out what we were doing, no one had any idea. And so yeah, I'm excited to like see how this works. I even asked the director too, I was like, can I watch some of the shots like back in real time like while we're there, because I just always get like stressed of, oh my God, wait, like I don't want to necessarily direct it, but I just want to see like what's up and creatively, like aesthetically, if it's the vibe. So yeah, I'm excited to get into that process for the first time.
Are they open to that? Are they open to you being hands-on with the visual process?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Maxwell and the producer of it, and I was like, I think the directors used to working with artists that maybe are like even more hands-on. I'm the kind of artist where it's like, because you know how like Taylor Swift, she directs her own music videos, and like maybe one day I'll get there with enough, like, I'm sure when she first started, she wasn't like, I want to be the director. Because I think as an artist, when you've like honed your craft in your own lane, you're like, well, I want to work with an expert from this other craft. So I really am like, let's see what you have to bring to the table. It kind of reminds me of if you're getting your hair done or something and you show them like inspo, but you trust them because they're like they know what they're doing. And so that's kind of how my mentality on it was, is like, I'm here to serve what's best for the song and the art. So if you pitch me this like really cool idea, I can then like maybe give my thoughts on it and tweak it. But I had already kind of like shared the journey of the song and like this is your job where you can now translate of like like, what's a cool way we can illustrate this emotion? And like, that's kind of their expertise. So that's kind of how I feel about it. We had a meeting and they were like asking me like, oh, are there any specific visuals or any like specific things? So they were like really like, Matt has been awesome. Nisa's like the DP, I think. Oh my, cinematographer. I'm so bad with the titles. But they've just been like very respectful that it's like my song, because I've definitely encountered others throughout the years that like they're not considerate that like it is your art at the end of the day, especially even producers and stuff. Like they take it for their own and they have their own ego attached to it and they want to make it their vision. So I do appreciate like this process of it has been, really cool.
Well, needless to say, I can't wait to hear everything about it and to see it. And I think that's the most important, cool part about it is that it
Mhm.
sounds like you're aligning yourself with people who are not looking to have a one up on someone and show who's got the power. It's literally like, hey, we all know what we're good at, but let's still work together. And I think it's going to come out great because of that. So can't wait to see it.
Yes, I'm so excited. I think it should be coming out in October. So like I'm jumping the gun, but there's so much like on the horizon. Like I've never had so much like music ready to roll in my entire life. I'm like, "Oh my God, it's crazy." I feel good about it because for the longest it was like definitely a struggle to consistently like put things out. Hence like my last EP was 2020. I'm the kind of person where it's like we said before, I would rather have it be less rushed. Like you definitely have to find the balance, because like you can be like, oh, a project is never done and then you never put it out, or it could be undercooked and then you're like, what are we doing here? So I think it's definitely like a big balancing game. But yeah, that should be out sometime in October based on their timeline. So
No, for sure. And I think the last time we recorded an episode together, you talked about like this duet that was coming out. Were you referring to Truce with Zach?
probably, because that's the only do. I'm like, when did we have our interview? Oh my God, was it last year? Everything's a blur. Well, Truce, we were like sitting on for a year, so I feel like that makes sense because we had like started it, and then Zach is amazing, Zach Paradise, and he is his own artist in his own right. So he's like Superman, like he does everything, and I'm like, sir, like you're insane. I love you, but like what how do you do all this? But he's very like he's super consistent with his releasing schedule, and he's fortunate because it's like he's self-produced and like has so many talents that he's just like a one-man show, like a well-oiled machine. So I think we had to wait a little bit because of his release schedule and just his workflow. But yeah, we put it out, and he was recently telling me that like so many people have like said it's one of their favorite tracks. So it was really cool because we had been working together. He actually produced 2000 and Run Right Through on this EP. So we've been working together honestly since I like first moved to LA. So it was a cool moment to like have our collaboration, because obviously we know we work behind the scenes, but we were like, yeah, we're gonna do this. And even with content too, like he's a well-oiled machine in that right as well. Like he's just super like, okay, I'm gonna learn how to do this and make it work. And just I think a lot of times as artists, like we have to outsource a lot of things because naturally we have to wear a lot of hats, especially as an independent artist with no budget. You're like, okay, like I'm gonna learn graphic design. I'm gonna learn. So, and most people are like self-managed, like everything, cover art, content. I think now more than ever, artists are like being pushed into that lane. And I think I'm the kind of person where, like I said, even with the music video and stuff, like I would rather like work with people that are like honing their craft and are experts in their craft. But obviously, with budgetary restrictions, it's kind of like you have to save it for what you really care about. And so I think for me, I hadn't done a music video for so long because it's so expensive, but I was like, this EP has been like 3 years in the making, and this song is really special to me, and I really believe in it. And like to me, it just felt like a universe moment because like I wasn't gonna do anything with it, and a bunch of people were like reaching out. And so it was just kind of one of those moments where you're like, just do it, just take the leap of faith. Like, you have to invest in your art. But yeah, I mean, sorry, I strayed, but Zach's very awesome at like getting everything self-contained so he can like outsource maybe like I don't know, everyone just has a different lane of which thing they would rather outsource and like what talents they have that they can utilize themselves. So very DIY vibes, but that's why I love working with him and working with other creatives here because they're just like down to get their hands dirty and just get it done and be creative and within the boundaries that we have. I think that's been a big learning lesson as well because even with back like in New York when I was a student, I was like thinking that I had the budget of Gaga, but like you know, like the ideas that I was coming up with were like, oh, but you need Gaga's budget. Oh, but you need Taylor Swift's budget for that. So it's I think that's the learning lesson is like a way to still make art that you feel inspired by, but within, you know, limitations that are just out of your control.
Well, the wait was definitely worth it because on record, I can say, because this is coming out after it drops, that I've already
Mhm.
gotten to listen to it. And let me tell you, bitch, you were ahead of your fucking time, okay? For taking your fucking time. Like,
Yeah.
legit, it is so fucking good.
Oh my God,
And
thank
oh
you.
my God, I can't wait for everyone to hear it. And obviously, by the time this drops, everyone will be listening to it. But since we were on the topic about truce and you mentioning something in the last time we recorded, which was almost a year ago, I'm going
Uh-huh.
to go through some things that we talked about a year ago just
Okay.
to kind of recap a little bit and go from there. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm so ready.
So, something you didn't know, Morgan, was the last time we recorded. Do you remember when our video cut out?
Wait, I literally do because when I was asking you before we started like how I should record this, I like was logging on to Zoom and I had a flashback. I was like, "Oh my God, wait, didn't we glitch?" So I do remember that. And I'm glad that you said it because I was kind of gaslighting myself, but I do remember.
Well, you're going to be happy to know that it was nothing on your end. I've never told you this. Even the time we hung out in LA, the time we FaceTimed, I've never told you this. This was my rookie mistake because you were my first Zoom guest, right? I didn't know that in Zoom, you couldn't record a lengthy recording without subscribing or paying their Zoom workshop desk thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
something you didn't know, Morgan, was during our first episode, there was a fucking timer on the screen that was timing me out that was saying, you need to pay for a membership if you want to keep recording. So what you didn't know is that the whole time we were talking, I'm trying to input my credit card information on the fucking screen.
Oh my God. Because you know, like I never shut the fuck up. So you're like, period. Like, let me ask her this question. I'm like going on for 10 minutes. You're like, uh-huh. I love that. Oh my
I
God.
was
That's
inputting it, and the reason why we were able to log back in so quickly was because by the time it cut out and timed out, it was just time for me to hit enter, them charge my card, and get my little fucking membership, whatever, and then get back on the call. So,
that is everything. I'm so glad you saved this for the episode to tell me.
exactly. Exactly. So, in honor of my rookie mistake, I'm going to ask you what's a
Uh-huh.
recent, or not even recent, but what is some like a rookie mistake you've made? Maybe it was with uploading to Spotify or YouTube and you were like, fuck, rookie mistake. When's the last time you had that moment?
I was gonna say trusting a man. Um, but we don't need to get into that today.
You're not lying.
That's for the next EP, mama. Okay, let me be professional. Rookie mistake. Definitely that. Maybe like TikTok. I like uploaded something to my story the other day on TikTok and fully thought I had drafted it. And then I went into my drafts and was like, where is this TikTok? And then I see that it was like blue on my profile.
Oh
I
no.
fully like it was unedited, like it was just like a cover of I think I don't even know which song, but I immediately like panicked. I think it was up for like 30 minutes and then I took it down. So I don't know if anyone saw the story. Maybe also like with the music video, like I started freaking out. I was on the way home from location scouting. I was like freaking out about the timeline of things because I just don't know how like the whole film process works. Like to me, I'm such a planner. Like usually I am a planner where I'm like, okay, I think in by nature in music, like you have to upload a song like 3 to 4 weeks out. So you really have to like have the cover art ready, have all this stuff ready before. But with film, I guess it's like way like shorter of a timeline. And so when we had the location scouting, like I thought that the director would already have like exact like what projections are we using, what is the exact like storyline or like all that. So I'm panicking because I'm not hearing any tangibles or concrete information. And on the way home, I was like, hey, Maxwell, like, what's going on? And he was just like, oh my God, you should have pulled me aside. Like, this is so normal. Like, this is how it works. Like, we can obviously have ideas. We can't execute them until we see a location. So I think that was another rookie mistake is just like being not doubting, like, it's nothing against them. I just don't know how the process works. And I was like, we seem very close to shoot because we're shooting on the 22nd. And I'm like, that's close. But to them, they were like, no, this is very like, we're on schedule, baby. We're good. And I'm like, okay. Like, so definitely trust the process on that one. So don't think that you drafted something and posted to your story, and don't doubt your director or like film crew.
Hell yeah. Shout out to rookie mistakes because that's how we learn, right?
Yes. Oh my God.
The next one's gonna get a little messy, okay? So I need you
Okay.
to prep for this one, okay?
I was like that the last question. I got messy. We're ready. We're here.
So the last time you were here, I asked you who you considered overrated and underrated. If today Morgan was responsible for completely erasing either Chaperone or Sabrina Carpenter's music, whose catalog would you completely erase?
Oh
And just
my.
like last time, I'll go first just to
Okay.
ease the pain a little bit,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
So mine's definitely going to be Sabrina Carpenter. I would erase hers. However, I was so pissed because I had had this idea to ask you this for a minute.
Uh-huh.
But then that song Taste came on. Bitch. I was
Stop.
like, oh, I want to
No.
take back my answer so bad. But because it's the only song that I'm like actually obsessed over in her catalog, I'm still going to go with Sabrina Carpenter. I love Chaperone and everything she's doing. So I'm going to have to keep hers. What about you?
Well, okay. I guess I'm gonna get messy again because somehow I just keep bringing it back. It's just fresh in my mind, I guess. But I would have to agree with you because I have a love-hate relationship with Sabrina's new album because it like hurts but like validates my life. So I think I would honestly erase her because it's triggering to me. And when you said taste, like my literal heart dropped. I was like, not that being my life. So yeah,
Oh
sorry
fuck.
for
I didn't think about it. I just thought about it.
no, it's fine. But like the whole album is like literally my life. Like I am Sabrina Carpenter. So I would definitely have to say Sabrina. I love her so much, but sometimes a little triggering to listen to her music. And Chapel has been getting me through a breakup. So like I live for her. Like without Hot to Go and like what is it? Super ultra modern. No, super I'm like super califragilistic. I don't know. That whole album is like, I mean, there are some like sad tracks that I've cried to for sure, but I have to say Chapel. And she's like, I love drag, so we got to keep the queen.
Absolutely. That's you
Love
have
you,
it here on
Sabrina.
record.
I love you. If
Same,
you
same,
ever
same,
watch
same.
this.
It's not personal, bitch. All right. Don't take it personal, Sabrina.
No, no, take it up with the men.
Exactly. If you even want to call them that. Woo.
I have definitely lyrics that can support that theory.
Yes, you do.
Oh my God.
The last one I have for you is the last time you were here, I gave you some homework to study on Fifi Dobson. Did you ever look her up?
My God. The way my heart dropped. I did look her up, I think like after the interview, but if you were to ask me the information now, I would definitely fail the test. But she's Canadian, right?
She is. Okay, you did do
Okay.
some homework. Okay, I'm very proud of you.
Did she do like pop rock or like what was her? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's coming back. It's coming back.
I am so proud of you. I was about to end the call and pretend it was my credit card.
Oh my God. You're like, I'm gonna invoice you actually for this subscription.
I have a random story I have to share with you too. And again, I never told you this, okay? So I've got another one.
Oh my God. So many
This one,
secrets.
no, I know. And this one's literally gonna fucking send you, Morgan, because who the fuck did I think I was? I don't know. A while ago, you made a post about running into Benny Blanco. Do you remember
Uh-huh.
this?
Yes, I do.
So if anyone ever asked me how much of a down bitch I am for Morgan fucking Keller, okay, I'm surprised he didn't get a restraining order on me, okay? Because I
Oh
blew
my
his fucking Instagram up. I sent him all your music. I sent him all your photos. I was just like, listen, she wasn't brave enough to come to you with her catalog, but I fucking am. Check this bitch out. Her name's Morgan Keller. I sent him videos. I sent him everything. And of course, because of who he fucking is, I don't think he ever even got it.
God. There is a
However,
request.
however, they're sitting in his request to this day. So
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with you for that. And I would just like to elaborate on this story for the listeners. It's so funny. I went to, okay, so if anyone wants to run into him, I don't know if he goes there a lot, but I think it's called Jitlada. It's in Thai Town, I think. It's in LA, definitely in LA. Look it up. It's like this Thai restaurant, and we were like waiting outside, and it was like Benny Blanco, Lil Dicky, and someone else. We were all waiting for a table because it was very like family owned restaurant vibe. No reservations. Like you just have to like put your name on a paper list. Yeah, I was like, holy shit, that's Benny Blanco. But I just felt so awkward. Like, what are you supposed to do in a parking lot? Like, I was just gonna start breaking out into songs. So like, and then I was like really hard on myself after that. Like now I think that's funny, but I at the moment was like, why can't I just be the kind of person that like constantly is like pitching themselves and like is brave enough to just be like, because like honestly, I mean, it could have been a moment. It could have been a moment where Benny was like, oh, okay, like you can come to a session. Like, probably not. But I was so, yeah. And then I made a TikTok about it and I was like, guys, like I'm being like so hard on myself. Like, what if like I should have just fucking done that? So thank you, Mo, for having my back. Benny, if you're watching, check your DM.
exactly. Well, and that's why I did it too, because I was like, you know what? We have all been in a place where sometimes we're bold and sometimes we're so timid. My boldness is just a little bit more out there. But I was just like, what would I have done? I mean, I would have been like, listen, you're either going to listen to my music or I'll give you head for a record deal. I don't know what you want, but we're getting something out of this. So I was just like, so I wasn't there. So I have to slide into his DMs.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. Yeah, and then they sat in the restaurant like I was dining alongside them. And then I was like, well, that's even worse to just like interrupt their meal to do this. Imagine breaking out in song. That's so funny. Yeah, that's hilarious. I didn't really know him. Like, I didn't know his personality. I think maybe if I had known he was like an approachable person, like maybe I would have gotten the courage, but I think most people would be scared. I think also, too, I never know with the music industry. Like, sometimes it feels like very connection based. So, like, that's kind of how it works. But at the same time, I've heard a lot of stories where it like really rubs people the wrong way, like where you think some people really like respect it because they're like, wow, that takes a lot of guts to do that. And like, I respect the hustle. Like, even if they are like, you know what, I'm not going to work with you, but like, keep doing what you're doing, whatever. But some people have like egos and they're like, how dare you, little peasant, come and talk to me, kind of thing. So I, at the time, was not strong enough to, you know, fight my own demons and be like, just do it. So if you ever run into Benny Blanco, any listeners, if you ever run into someone, just shoot your shot.
Hell yeah. Okay, if we were to run into him right now, let's say you're not there, so you already know I'm a down bitch, so I'll do it. Which song would you want me to play for him?
Oh my God.
I know, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Oh my God. I don't know what Benny would appreciate most. Like if it were more of like the vibe of the song, like if it's like catchy or whatever, or if it's like the lyrics are really ones that I'm super proud of. Cause if it were like lyrically, I would probably say IJDK, which is like the track we were talking about. Because I think it's like my most vulnerable writing, but maybe that or like Old Habits, because she's, you know, that girl, she's the classic, she's the fan fave. So she hasn't led me astray. Well, she kind of has. I got bullied on the internet, but other than that,
Are
like I
Swifties? Are Swifties
Yes.
still coming for you these
Oh
days?
my God, the drama. The internet is a fucking crazy place. And I actually was looking for the music video. The director wanted me to like pull some like old home video type things of like me going out or with friends and stuff like that. And I found a thing from like a year ago. And wait, oh my God, not me losing my train. I'm like, hello? Wait, what were you just saying? Why did I just die? What happened? Old habits. Wait, is that what we're talking about?
Swifties coming for you in
Oh, yes, yes,
2024.
yes. So I found footage of me like fucking crying. Of me crying. Like, if there's one thing about me, like, I'm just gonna put it on record that, like, I love documenting myself crying shamelessly. Like, I love the journey because A, for the biopic, for the biopic, and B, like, I don't know. So, just to look back on moments like that. So, I was like having a breakdown because last summer I was getting dragged after I did the general campaign. That was like the start of the dragging. And then that kind of calmed down. But then, right around my birthday, that was the worst part about it. It was like my birthday last year in October. Like, I think it was the week of my birthday. I got sick. And so I was like, couldn't record new content. And I reposted old habits and I got dragged by the Swifties because at that time on TikTok, it was very like you had to say a phrase and then play your song. So you had to have like a hook and then play your song. So it was like Taylor Swift would be proud of this song or something. And then this troll fucking like stitched it with like a Taylor Swift like AI mask and was like, this fucking sucks. Like you should give up singing or like whatever. And it got like 7 million views or something. And then all of that hate got thrown onto me. And I don't have a team. What do you do? Like people have like PR coaches, like people have a team like guiding you and giving you advice on how you should handle. Like there's certain protocol. I was by myself. Mental health was not at a great spot. And we have this like wave of hate. So it definitely sucked because like also everything like I used at that point I started being really consistent with posting and it just was frustrating because it interrupted that because anything new that I posted would just be like dragged and then I like turned off comments and like people went to my Instagram and it was really brutal. So I found a video of me just crying and being like, I don't get it. Like why? Like, what did I do? Like, I'm a good person. And I think that's actually a common theme. That's a common theme that I've been dealing with lately. But it sucks, like when, especially with art, like when you're sharing your art with the world. I think this is like a whole other topic that I'm sure you have opinions on. But TikTok to me has turned into Reddit, and it's sad because when I first joined TikTok, I felt like the algorithm was used for good, and there was like it connected me with like all these fans and people who like would vibe with me. And then it turned into a space where it's like, oh no, why are you even putting my content on these people's pages that are gonna hate it? So yeah, it was like at one point anything I posted was just like I was just being body shamed, like just like it hadn't even nothing even to do with the art at that point. It was just like existing and being a fucking woman. And I was like, are we so desensitized that we are normalizing this behavior? And even, I mean, to bring back Chapel, there was that whole discussion of her setting her boundaries about fans or just people being inappropriate or like doing inappropriate things or doing things that made her feel unsafe. So I think there's just like a huge conversation about it, but it's crazy because it's like, why is this just like accepted that, oh, you're good? And in Chapel's case, like, yeah, she is like having success from it. Like I wasn't even there's not even the argument that I'm like, oh, keep hating. I'm raking it in. Like I'm making the big bucks. It's like, no, I'm just getting bullied. Just like getting told to go kill myself. Like this is not cute. So I made the mistake of trying to like take that approach and being like, I don't condone that behavior. I think that's bullying. I think that's messed up. And they're like, oh, you're getting bullied on the internet. Like, I just think those situations, it's always a lose lose. I don't even know. I don't have advice, honestly, for anyone navigating it other than maybe just ride it out. Like, do what you think is best and ride it out. But it was definitely traumatizing time, to say the least.
Well, I
Um,
will say this about all of that because it's something we've kind of talked about off record about a little bit, but
mhm.
the truth of it is that no one ever makes it to the top without going through this level of fucking torture from
Yeah,
trolls, okay? It's
yeah,
one of those things like, I mean, even looking back of clips of Chaperone before where people are just walking by her, they don't give a fuck, they're not paying attention, but someone's filming her in this little solo park doing her shit by herself and no one really cares, using it as a way to kind of make fun of someone who's just, in a keyboard on their own on the streets. But
right.
look where she's at today. No one has ever made it to the top without being dragged that way. So, to all the Swifties out there, not all
Those
of them,
are
not
not
all the
real
Swifties.
Swifties. Like,
No,
yeah, I don't.
yes.
Taylor would never condone that in her fandom. So, like, it's just so funny because they were poser Swifties. If they're part of the Swifties, like, they are like standing in opposite of what Taylor believes. Mother would be very disappointed.
No, totally. And that's exactly where I was going with that. I'm like, how like there's this one girl, she does like covers of Taylor Swift and she's really fucking bad, but that's
Uh-huh.
become her platform and they all root her on. They all like go and support her. And so it's always to say to the fake Swifties out there, shut the fuck up, okay?
Shut the fuck up.
Exactly. So, in honor of moving past all the bullshit, right? In honor
Uh-huh.
of getting by when you can, let's talk about this new EP.
Yeah.
Why did we choose to call it what you're calling it? And let's start there.
Okay, so this is great. Great segue because this is a callback to Mother. So Call It What You Want is the title of the EP. And if you don't know, that's a track on the Reputation album. I saw a meme that very much describes this where they're like people pleasers setting boundaries and saying they're in their villain era. And that was they're like recovering people pleasers setting a boundary and being like I'm a villain like that truly truly was at the time I was like this is my villain era because I had been all about peace and love and fully just trying to like be the kindest nicest person on planet earth and then getting consistently walked all over and I just was like done and to any recovering people pleasers out there you got this you're not a villain I mean, you're gonna feel like a villain, but at the end of the day, I think it feels like when you're so used to putting other people above you, you think that you are being messed up or selfish for finally like prioritizing yourself. But that was kind of the journey of this EP where it was like finding my own voice, like pushing back against things. And, I think I had been made to feel bad. And I think a lot of women are like called a bitch or like there's such a negative connotation for standing up for yourself and setting boundaries because the people that are benefiting from it are angry because they can no longer use you as a doormat. I'm like really giving a therapy session right now. The people that respect your boundaries or, the people that are good people are going to respect your boundaries and aren't going to think it's bad or wrong. And they're going to be like, oh, cool. And it's not going to be a big deal. And you're going to be like, that wasn't hard at all. So I think that that was kind of the space that I was in, especially like with tracks like Bad Thing or even Wasted of just like, I'm not going to hold my tongue about this. Like, this is an opinion that I have and I'm going to say it. I think that's also a huge thing for artists as well. That, like, I don't know, I think I've encountered a lot of people in the music industry that aren't artists and they don't have anything to stand by. And like, that's why we see this like TikTok, like, oh, they'll have a song and then they die out. Cause it's like, look at the artists that have had longevity. They have a mission statement, they have an opinion, they have something they want to say to the world. And it doesn't always have to be super controversial, but I think this EP for me was about like a personal, just like, you know what? No, everyone's told me that like I should just hold my tongue and, write about this or write about that. And I was like, I want to be real. Like, I want to say how I feel. And so, yeah, that's kind of where it came from. And Call It What You Want. I think I just wanted to have a nod to the Reputation album because it was something that like really inspired me and like made me feel empowered. But I also just like to Call It What You Want because it's like, call it whatever you want. It's not like Glitter and Gold where it was like this self-love journey and it's this story where it's like start to finish. Here's the whole like plot line. It's very much like call it whatever you want. Like this was my journey of like stepping into myself and like becoming an adult and a human being and finding my own voice and my journey of like moving to LA and what I've observed and the things I've learned from and grown from. So that's just kind of like there still is that theme of growth, but it's a little more real and raw, I would say, on this EP.
That was absolutely my favorite part about it too, was just the attitude on it. Call it what you want. I'm gonna say it anyway. And I love that attitude too. And I think what intrigued me the most was the call it what you want attitude, but then also the line about where it talked about it feeling like it's too much that you need to buy a new skin. That
Yeah.
to me was just very like, okay, we're not biting our tongue. We're saying
Yeah.
it the way it is. That is part of the chaos of Los Angeles. And when you make this jump to this industry, specifically in Hollywood, it's fucking crucial and it makes you question your capabilities, your artistry, your image. And so let's not bite our tongue about it. And I absolutely love that. So I think you conveyed it very spot on. And I didn't know that that came inspiration from that era and the segue
What
into
a
out of,
segue. That no, that
I
was
know.
perfect. Oh my God. I love it. Yeah. And I think it's funny because a lot of times, I mean, it just everyone has a different creative process. I think for me, like the way I look at EPs or projects is usually just like almost like a snow globe or a time capsule of like a period in your life where you like wrote all these things. Sometimes it can be like a sonic tie or whatever. But that's why I also wanted to put this out because all these tracks had been like this whole journey. And now I'm like moving forward and there's like a new chapter happening. But I think a lot of artists struggle, especially going back to the whole like budgetary restrictions and whatever. I'm always so jealous of artists that can like put out music like when they're living that period. So it's like weird in a way because this is a past life for me. Like I started working on this in 2020. I was listening to voice memos. I think I posted on my Instagram and it was so weird because I was like, oh my God, I was a child. Like I was a baby. Like I think that's why I ended with IJDK because I think when you're younger and I think Glitter and Gold, like it was again part of my journey, so I can't be mad about it. But I fell into this false sense of like happy ending vibe where you're like, oh, like growth is linear and like healing is linear and I'm gonna keep leveling up and like I'm just gonna keep on this wavelength and that's not how life works. It's like if you zoom out on the bigger picture, yes, like you're gonna see your growth, but like in the little moments, like there's gonna be things where you think it's not growth, but it actually is, but you're going backwards and it's like all over the place. And so I think with the ending of this EP, it might feel like bleak, but I wanted it to be more real of like, I feel like I am in the plot right now. Like I'm in the thick of it. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's on the horizon. Like I think this period of life, I don't know if you or anyone listening has the Pattern app, but I'm like an astrology girly. So I think also in hard times people find faith and like whatever that faith is, it depends on, you know, what you believe or what you gravitate toward. But I was already feeling that like inner journey of trying to control so many things and realizing that like it's kind of out of your control. So the Pattern told me that this period is forcing me to let go. And so I think, yeah, I think letting go for me was like put it out. Some people they might need to like be a little more on it of like, hey, let's curate this more. Hey, let's do that. I'm like, no, like, hey, let's like have fun and explore and like stop being a perfectionist for 5 seconds. So I feel like I'm winging a lot of this, but obviously I don't think it comes across as that, but I think again I'm my own harshest critic and I think a lot of artists are. But yeah, I'm just excited to end this chapter and like not end it because I don't know, just memorialize it and commemorate it and be like, go off, girl. But I've just grown so much in this journey. I'm like, this is wild. Like that this was a past version of me.
Well, and I think you said it so perfectly when you talked about the zooming out because it's such a good reminder, just in general, it's a good reminder because balance in everything we do is so important. And I think that some of us are really good at seeing the bigger picture, but
Right.
sometimes seeing the bigger picture, you forget the little steps in between and you don't get to celebrate those little moments. You don't celebrate what comes after those little hardships. And I think it's a really good reminder that, hey, zooming out is a good thing to do, but sometimes zooming in and celebrating, like you said, memorializing those little
Yeah.
steps are so important for your growth because if you don't pay attention to them, what's the
Yeah.
point of going through those journeys if you're not going to take anything from them? So, damn, Morgan, this was a
I
good little therapy session. Fuck.
I'm sorry. No, I'm like, I'm I was like, this EP is kind of existential, kind of like, I don't know, it's just kind of more just real and raw. And not to say that like I was being fake on Glitter and Gold or anything else, but like when you're an artist and songwriter, like you're writing your own music, it's like you're growing as a person, and that's such a reflection of the art that you're making. And so, like, I used to be so nervous when I would get vulnerable in writing because I feel like, I mean, it's so scary. It's like you're literally putting your diary on display and being like, and I used to think that like people wouldn't care. I think now we have so many examples of like real raw songwriting where it's like, you know, like Phoebe Bridgers or Gracie Abrams, like Taylor. I mean, it's just now that's like celebrated and encouraged. But you know, like I grew up in like the 2010s, like that was not the music that we were listening to. Like there was so much stigma around a lot of things, and it wasn't encouraged to like say those deep dark thoughts publicly, and entertainment was supposed to be entertainment. Yeah, it's like I had to find my own journey to like feeling confident sharing those things and seeing vulnerability as a strength versus a weakness. And that's still something that I am trying to remind myself, even navigating my own life, like my own personal life. But it's like easier said than done, and I say it all the time. Like I would say that to you, I would say it to friends, but I think the hardest lesson is just like riding for yourself and like being kind to yourself. And like it's so hard, like you're just figuring out the balance of like how to push yourself to like do the right thing for you, but like not, you know, tearing yourself down and like trying to be your biggest cheerleader. So I think all of those themes are definitely like wrapped up. I think that this EP just sums up like the learning curve and the process of like how to do that and how to find your voice. And I remember being scared to put out Wasted as well, because I'm like basically saying like you bitches are fake. Basically, fuck fake bitches. But I mean, I still get frustrated, and I'm sure a lot of people do, like when you start to realize your belief system and then you encounter people that are so anti what you believe in. It's hard. It's hard to like navigate and stand your ground. But at the end of the day, I think I always say you just got to find your tribe, you know, find the people that you gravitate toward. And like, I'm just saying, I don't know. A lot of people don't have a moral compass. So that's the other part that's frustrating. And especially in this industry, it's like, I feel like not only am I just juggling like a lot of different factors, but it's also like, I think a lot of artists talk about trying to hold on to your integrity and like your own like moral belief systems, because a lot of times like you feel like you have to compromise. And I've heard a lot of that from like label and like industry stuff. And there's always like pushback. So it's like weird. It's a catch 22 because you're encouraged to like, oh, the best art is like you being so 100% authentic and real and yourself, to the point where like people really fuck with that. But then there is like a pushback at the same time. So I think all of this just requires so much self-love, strength, belief in yourself. I'm like, it's just really hard. I'm just a girl.
I think you said it so perfectly too, because it's not about being fake with your past projects, but I do think that there is this level of growth when you're able to acknowledge the naiveness that came with your youth. And it's so funny that we even talked about it, because on that post that you were referencing to, I think you posted a voice memo, right? It was from
Yeah.
2020, 2021. It's crazy how when even you hear yourself from just a few years ago, you sound
I'm
like a
like,
child.
I do. Like, who the fuck is that? I like almost didn't post it because I was like, oh my God. But I was so like, you can just see your confidence like grow, because I love her. I love that bitch. I love that bitch in 2021. But she was not confident. And like, I think again, the illusion is that confidence is like something that you just attain and like it's just permanent. And in reality, like all of these things we're talking about are constant maintenance. And like, you could revert back to 2021 you at any point, but you need to like have the strength to like remember you can step out of that and you can be a different version. That's like the craziest part too, is like just getting older. I feel like those past versions of you still exist, kind of like the rings of a tree, but it's like, or like onion, like whatever.
Uh-huh.
But it's like weird. It's so weird. And I think this new era, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm still having, I think it's so normal to like have identity crises like constantly because I think that maybe I'd like to think that's a the mark of like showing that you are growing and like you are changing because it's like I think I have a lyric. Wait, isn't there a lyric in this EP where I'm like, I think it's in IJDK. Wait, me like my brain's not working. Hold on, me pulling up pulling up my own lyrics.
Hold on, we're just gonna Google ourselves real quick.
Oh, I'm scared I might lose myself. I'm changing and I'm scared I might lose myself. That is like such a huge fear. I think, and that's like the common thread in like, I think most people that experience growth is like, sorry, this is getting so deep, but I was just talking to my best friend. Like, we always get into conversations like this where we used to, a past version of ourselves, we used to think that like our identity was rooted in like, I listen to this music, I wear these kind of clothes, I do this kind of thing. And like, I think that's maybe phase one. But then you kind of realize that that's not enough, or those aren't like tangible things. The things that make you you are just like these weird abstract things. And like, it's more of a feeling and it's more of like how you conduct yourself and like the kind of people you surround yourself with and the actions that you do. And like, I don't know, the work that you do on yourself. So I think now it feels harder to like identify yourself in the way that I used to. Cause I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what kind of style. I used to think that that would define me as a person. But now it's like, well, what if I'm like not feeling that? Because like, that doesn't define you. Like, you can change your style, you can change all these things. So I think that was kind of my, even my personal struggle now, or even like in the art that I'm creating. I'm like, oh, but music kind of calls for that branding. So it's hard. I think Katy Perry like talked about it where she's like the difference between Katie Hudson and Katy Perry. And like a lot of the icons, even Gaga, are like, it's just this like persona and character because it's easier to market and sell. But it's so hard when you're just like, how do you boil down like a person into a product or one thing? And I think that's why like Taylor's a great example of like the evolution or just like constantly like reinventing yourself or doing different things. And I would like to say personally, I think it's a very like female heavy thing because we don't see that. Like Ed Sheeran's not like forced to evolve or change like the way he looks or the branding he's putting out. People are just like interested in his music. It's so frustrating being a woman and seeing the standards in the music industry set for you of like, you're not going to stand out. No one's going to take you seriously. But it's enough for like, even I see random guys on TikTok, they'll just like put a song and they aren't dressed up. They don't, you know, it's not about their looks at all. Like they're just like, wow, dude, what a great song. And then I post and they're like, you're fat and ugly, bitch. I'm like,
It's so fucking true.
oh,
And that shit pisses me off too, because you're absolutely right. It's like that standard is so different. And I actually talked about this with a different guest. I can't really
uh-huh.
think right now, but it was about how when it comes to even performances, the standard of a male performing live versus a female performer are
Yeah.
so different, you know? So
Taylor gets criticized for just like guitar vocal, but like that's what Ed's whole show is. Or like, you know,
and I love hearing you talk about this too, because I will quote you on this. I do remember a line. If I fuck it up, I'm sorry. I did listen to the music, I swear. But you talked about being cursed with ambition. And I
yeah.
love the reminder that regardless of what you wear, what you change, that girl that's cursed with ambition that started putting music out a few years ago will still always be there and is still there in 2024. So I love that so much. I love it. I did pay attention. I did hear.
No, that honestly, thank you for bringing that line up. That's like one of my favorite lyrics. And I have to give credit my bestie Mariah. It was funny. Like she wants to do like comedy writing. Like she does that stuff. We're both writers, but like I do music. She does like TV and stuff. We like kind of would inspire like things I would say or like whatever might make it into her script. And then things she would say to me would make it into songs. And I think I was like saying like, why couldn't I just want to be an accountant? Like, why did I have to like want to change the world? Like in no shade. Well, actually, I'm gonna hold my tongue about that. I'm not gonna say anything more about accountants. Sorry to the good accountants out there. You don't deserve any hate. The bad ones. Okay, I'm getting messy. I'm getting messy. I'm like, Morgan, this is gonna be on the internet. Slay.
Great. We're gonna have like the fake Swifties and the shitty accounts coming after us.
Canceled. But yeah, it's like it really is sometimes being passionate and caring about something feels like a curse because you're taught that like that's so great and that's like a great attribute to have, but it's not rewarded like in society by a lot of people. It's only rewarded until you're like extremely successful, you know? Like up until that point, like you're what are you doing? You're delusional, you're not thinking rationally, like this is not a realistic thing. This is like crazy until you do it. So like that has also been the journey of like trying to like be comfortable in the uncomfortable. I still don't have an answer, and that's why like I wanted to end the EP on that note of like you're cursed with ambition and that's your blessing and your curse. And I think what helps is just like, you know, the people that are riding for you. Like I'm not going to say that at the end of the day like yeah, of course it should come from you, but it doesn't hurt to have support behind you and people that believe in you and your art just as much as you do, because then you feel like you're not crazy. Like you're like, okay, so like people are getting inspired by this or they're connecting to this. Like I've gotten so many messages throughout the years of just people like saying that I helped them through a breakup, I helped them through a hard time, like that I, you know, I think as artists and songwriters, we forget that we are like the mouthpiece for the people. And like a lot of people can't express these feelings or thoughts. Like we are kind of the translators. And so, like, I mean, I feel that way. Like I'm saying, like Sabrina's album, like, or, you know, other music that like is exactly what you're going through. It definitely makes you feel less alone inherently. And then also, you're like, okay, if Sabrina Carpenter can get cheated on, then, you know, like it's and Beyonce and like all these people, you know, I think it's you find solace in, you know, just the other people having your same human experiences. So I just try to like remind myself in that way because that's why I started it. Like I wanted to do all these things because I wanted to feel less alone. Like baby Morgan or, you know, a younger version of me would like have loved to see someone with a body type like me or would love to have been validated in the way I was feeling and, you know, heard it in like musicians and stuff like that. So, yeah, any other artists out there listening, keep doing what you're doing. Like, it might feel like what you're doing doesn't matter, but it does. You can't always see like the direct impact. But I mean, people like even in West Hollywood, I had a moment with Old Habits, I was getting like recognized a lot. And it was just cool because like I feel like the internet is such a void or like this black hole where you put something out and you, even with this, it's like, if you're concerned with the numbers, it's like it feels like, oh wow, I failed, you know? But I think my new focus in this era has just been like trying to put out art that I feel good about and that represents me and hope that like that will bring the other things that I'm desiring. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned. Stay
Yes. And also celebrating it too. I love that so much. And I will tell you this, I think it's being conveyed so beautifully. And I think it's why I felt like you were so ahead of your time with what you're putting out now, considering you've been working on it for a minute. So I'm super excited. I know everyone's going to fucking love it. The ones that don't, they probably have shitty taste in music anyway. So but Morgan, I am going to tell you this because I'm not going to wait to tell you in the future. I've
Okay.
made another rookie mistake, girl. My fucking laptop's about to die. I just got the thing
Okay.
that's like low battery,
Okay.
but so that we don't get cut out like we did the first time we recorded, for anyone that's listening and not watching, tell them where to find you and tell them where to stream this amazing EP of yours.
Yes. Okay. So you can stream Call It What You Want on any of your streaming services. You can follow me on TikTok at Morgan Keller Music and Instagram at Morgan Keller Music. Come on, branding, consistency. Those are really my two main places to find me. And if you're listening, you can click, I mean, you can go on those socials, click the link in my bio, it'll be there, or you can just search Morgan Keller on streaming and it'll pop up. And you can access both of my EPs. So yeah, I'm so excited.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for it. And just so you know, I'm not fucking lying. I took a picture of it.
It's fine. It's so fine. I believe you. you've spilled all the tea now.
I love you so, so much.
I
And I
love
am
you.
so honored to be able to share this journey with you and be a part of it. So thank you again for being here. And we'll probably do another 3-hour FaceTime call soon. So
Yes. Oh my God, I love you so much. Thank you for having me on. This is amazing. And it
I
feels good to like talk about my art again. I'm like, yay.
I know, so excited, and I love you more. So take care of yourself, and I'll text you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, if you've made it this far, don't forget to follow the socials on the screen or in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you next week.